Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another Ask Wrestle Juice. You guys had left so many questions between Thursday and yesterday that I decided to do a two-parter Ask Wrestle Juice. First one's up yesterday. Now this one's going up. We're going to start things off with a question from John Davies. It says, hey Steve, what do you think the main characteristics of Bray Wyatt's new gimmick are going to be? He says he watched the film Black Phone, and when the antagonist's behavior / personality changed, so did his mask. So I've heard the same thing. I've heard that the what we've gotten from Bray so far is a bit reminiscent of that. From what I understand, the guy who created his mask also worked on that movie as well. I'm not sure how close it's going to sort of stick with what was going on in that movie. I feel like Bray has a different story to tell. And from what I gathered on Friday on SmackDown, it's completely different than anything he's done, while still sort of straying close to some of the themes that he likes to play with. One thing Bray loves to do is examine through the lens of professional wrestling the inner workings of man. What drives us, what makes us run, our insecurities, our demons. And, you know, probably his crowning achievement in wrestling so far that I can really think of was the Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena, which was a cinematic that sort of looked at Cena through a brand new lens. He sort of Mr. WWE, and it went back into his past. They filmed it at the WWE warehouse where they could take advantage of all the props that they have there. And it really was a brilliant little piece of meta filmmaking that sort of deconstructed John Cena and through the lens of Bray Wyatt's character. And I feel like that was a situation where he was given a lot of freedom just to do whatever he wanted to. Cena seemed to be completely on board, and I think from what I understand, Cena really loved it. Beyond that, you've always seen sort of hints at what Bray has wanted to do. With The Fiend and Firefly Funhouse, clearly he was sort of deconstructing his own career. The puppets represented various aspects of his career. This is very different. What we're getting now is very different, but still sort of thematically similar to what he's done in the past. In this case, we get the most sort of stripped down Bray Wyatt, almost like just Wyndham Rotunda, just him, just the man, who comes out and he spills his guts out to the audience emotionally this past Friday on SmackDown. And is very vulnerable. And he lays out some recent traumas that he has experienced: the loss of Brody Lee, the loss of another person in his life, the loss of his career, being fired from WWE. This seems a lot more personal than a deconstruction of his career. This seems a lot more like it's coming from some deep personal tragedies that have gone on around him. And that's what makes it more interesting. So I don't think he's going to have like a faction. I'm not even sure how it's going to manifest itself when it comes to the actual wrestling involved. Maybe we're just going to get a Bray Wyatt who wants to wrestle, and he does that. But whenever he tries to pick up a win or something, this other version of himself manifests. Maybe in the ring, the lights go down, lights go up, and he's there. And the masked figure is there, and then he cheats or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to manifest itself exactly when you're, running ropes and stuff. But I'm interested to find out, because it seems like he might have the level of freedom he needs to fully tell this story. And not end up like, any number of his rivalries with Randy Orton, for example, both of which ended up in really sort of shitty WrestleMania matches, but had some really interesting things going on along the way. I hope this ends up a little bit more satisfying, like the Cena stuff he did with Firefly Funhouse, although not necessarily all relegated to cinematic stuff. So the shorter answer is I don't know, but it seems like we're going to get a stripped down Bray Wyatt who's battling his own personal demons and tragedies, which sounds really fascinating to me. I don't know how he's going to do it, but it sounds really cool. And I'm really interested to see what that's all about. Let's see here. Moving on. Fatal Destiny says, when are you and Larson going to make the trip to Deadlock Pro Wrestling? He says, I hear the 1 year anniversary show is going to be pretty good. I don't know. We got so much on our plate right now. It's hard to get away, but I love what Deadlock is doing. I love those guys. They're fantastic. DPW, I'm all in on it, man. I think it's fantastic. That guy named Mikey says, what's your opinion on the current state of the Dark Order? Between losing half of its faction members and constantly being put to lose their big matches, Do they still have a chance of being in the main event scene, or they should cut their loss and split as a group? I don't think they have to split. I don't think they're going to be like in a main event situation anytime soon. But I don't know. I could see them eventually getting the trios championship. They might be the lovable losers who eventually the crowd, is able to sort of carry them to some momentum and then maybe an important win. But I don't know. I don't know if they were ever really meant to be. I know Brody Lee was meant to be a main eventer, and he was fantastic. But since he passed and Hangman sort of took the reins to a degree of like main guy in Dark Order, at least the highest level guy in Dark Order, as a group, they've sort of floundered. But I don't think they should break up. I think people still like them. I think factions still work in AEW because it means that less people are being left behind, even if those people's roles are kind of diminished because they're within a faction. But I don't know. I don't know what the deal with the Dark Order is. I think that, they're obviously not where AEW originally had hoped they were going to be, which is a completely different thing. But no, I think people really like Dark Order. It'd be kind of a bummer if they just broke up and just did less things. Let's see here. Tyler Warden says, what's the ideal booking for LA Knight throughout the next year? I mean, eventually, like honestly, something for LA Knight a year from now, I think it'd be kind of not shocking if you saw him flirt with the Intercontinental Championship. This dude can get over. He went heel on Friday, called the crowd a bunch of incels. He has a knack of being able to get himself over using his promos. And I think Triple H really seems to like him. I mean, it's only been a couple of months and he's already back to being LA Knight from Max Dupree. So time will tell. I don't know. But yeah, I could see him become an Intercontinental Championship. I think it's sort of the highest that he would go. But you never know. If the crowd really loves him and he has a knack for getting really over, then maybe the sky's the limit once they split those titles. He ain't going to beat Roman or nothing. F-Pop Entertainment, what Cody level person do you see as a potential ship jumper in either direction? At this point, Kenny, probably the Young Bucks. I don't see them sticking around AEW after this mess. I really don't. I think they have like a year left on their contract. I think they might have had the option of their contract picked up, if I remember correctly. So it's either at the end of this year. I think it's at the end of this, or no, I'm sorry, at the end of next year, like at the end of 2023, I think. Or sometime in 2023. They're not. Tony Khan's going to have to make it up to them big time for them to stick around. I really believe that. I think Kenny Omega has already done everything there is to do in AEW. I think maybe if he gets that match with Kota Ibushi, that'll sort of be his bucket list. And at which point, if he's not ready to retire and WWE wants to give him the schedule that he wants, I could totally see Kenny Omega leaving. Triple H will butter him up, wine and dine him, and say, come on over to the big leagues, kid. And the same with the Young Bucks. If they feel kind of like, I feel like this happened with Cody. I feel like he felt like, okay, well, it was our booking and our creative that sort of brought AEW to where it was, and Tony Khan took over. And then Tony Khan had the temerity to, let CM Punk run his mouth right next to him, bury these guys, and then suspend them all for what's now, 6 weeks. I'm not sure that he can recover from that as it pertains to his relationship with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. I don't know. I don't know the Young Bucks have the kind of ego that'll let them sit on the sidelines and just be cool with it. I really don't. I mean, if anybody's going to threaten legal action at this point, it should be those guys and say, hey, put us back on TV. Let us work. RedTube says, do you think Rey Mysterio is putting on his best character work of his career right now? I do. I really like the bit with him and Triple H on SmackDown when he got attacked, when he was dealing with Dom on Monday, sitting on the apron. It's a week ago Monday, sitting on the apron crying. I thought that was really good stuff. This Rey Mysterio Dom stuff is really, really good. Golgotha, with the arrival of the Gallows brothers, do you see Triple H changing policy for WWE talent and allowing his wrestlers to carry and promote multiple titles from other federations? There's a big difference between leftover business, leftover obligations, and carrying and promoting another promotion's titles. In about 3 weeks or so, Carl Anderson's probably going to lose that Never title. I hope in the meantime he shows up on WWE programming with it, because I think it'd be really cool. It's neat to see that kind of crossover happen. But I don't really think that's going to happen. Watch, I say this, and this actually probably happens on Raw tonight because I'm recording this on Monday. I think things might be looser. I always go back to Brody Lee claiming that Triple H offered him a spot in New Japan because apparently there were some talks between WWE and New Japan. That'd be amazing. And I think it would not shock me if that stuff happened. So I don't know. I think that maybe 2023, the big mind-blowing thing there is going to be WWE and New Japan working together. I think that's a possibility. Noon Mountain says, we're going to pour one out for Honor No More being no more. They provided such great unintended comedy. I'm going to miss them chewing wires or Eddie cutting his weekly I don't trust PCO promo. Just don't know what you have until it's gone, man. It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Braden Loader. With the recent rumors going around, do you see Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green making a return to WWE? So the rumor I saw involved Chelsea Green. I think Cardona would be great too. You got to use him in the way he's being used right now in the independents. He's got so much more personality. He doesn't seem he always seemed like he was missing something, like missing a piece of his personality in WWE. And outside WWE, with this personality of his, it's fantastic. It's really good stuff. So I would love to see them there. I'd love to see them in WWE. Absolutely, 100%. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Let's see here. What is this? Colin Branch, do you think it makes sense for Sammy Guevara to beat Daniel Garcia for the pure title with the help of Jericho? Should that be part of the story? I don't know where Colin is in terms of his AEW lore, but Daniel Garcia is back with the Jericho Appreciation Society. I still think Daniel Garcia is going to beat Jericho for that Ring of Honor title. If Tony Khan was smart, he would do that. I know he's probably going to try to use Jericho to get Ring of Honor a TV deal, but if Ring of Honor is supposed to be kind of their developmental, then have this just be a con from Daniel Garcia to infiltrate the Jericho Appreciation Society after trying to do it the proper way the first time, sports entertain his way back in, and then stab him while he's right next to him and take his title. Not literally stab him. I mean, like have a match with him before he takes it. Let's see here. This is a long question from some guy. With AJ and Finn each having their own faction and a potential debut for the Elite in WWE with Hunter in charge, what's the likelihood we see a three-way ex-Bullet Club leader standoff? That shit's probably going to happen in 2023. That would not shock me at all. That would not shock me at all. It'd fucking blow minds is what it would do. Yeah, man. Anyways, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for all your great questions. I'm going to try to answer some more of these in text form on the actual community thread. Tomorrow, I'll have some sort of reaction video, so check that out. Also, over at Friendo Club Wrestling, me and Larson bought a wrestling promotion, and our journey to doing that is all documented in the latest episode of Friendo Road. Go check that out. We'll see you over there.